That's a good question. Well, I started acting professionally when I was 6 years old. Both my parents are actors. Sorry, I'm trying to make that work better. Both my parents are actors, and so my mom was my first acting teacher. She was an acting teacher for and manager for the likes of, she taught Leonardo DiCaprio and the Phoenix Kids, and Jessica Biel managed her, and managed, I mean, I was her first project, but these were all other people that she brought into the fold, and many others, Molly Ringwald, and on and on and on. So yeah, she was my first teacher. Then I also studied with Stella Adler herself when I was 18. I felt like I needed to sort of, branch out and just be with someone else. And at that time I needed to know that I was working all the time as like a kid. I always worked, and I worked as all through my teen years and into my young adulthood. But at that time when I was 18, it was kind of like I needed Stella Adler to tell me that I was good. She did. So that was pretty incredible, because she was particularly hard on women and particularly hard on beautiful women. So it was very, very intense to be in her class. And then I studied also with a guy named Larry Moss, who's also incredible. And yeah, and then just all the directors that I worked with over the years, many directors, good ones, bad ones, mediocre ones, and you learn just as much from the good ones as you do from the bad ones. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Was there a part of this movie that was hard for you to do?
The question is, was there a part of the movie that was hard for me to do? I don't know if I would say hard, because it's such a delicious meal for an actor, to have something like this, especially something that is so perfectly suited to me. They wrote it for me based on work that they'd seen me do in the past. They'd never met me, and sent it to my agent, and my agent read it and sent it to me, and I read it, and then I took a meeting with them, and it was just sort of like a perfect, beautiful synergy that kind of came together. And so I don't know if I would say hard. Absolutely exhausting and exhilarating all at once, just a combination of both things. And so yeah, I mean, I think it was fun. Like, sure, hard. I'm a dancer though, so I'm one of those people that I like to feel used up. I like to feel that everything I've got is required of me and asked of me and demanded of me, and I like to feel wiped out at the end. I like to just be like a little, just flat out on the floor. So I mean, I think I'm weird that way, in the sense that I don't maybe feel it like hard the way most people would, because I'm looking for that. I'm looking to be used up, as it were. So, yes.
As the character?
Yeah.
When you took the gun?
Yeah.
You did not pull the trigger?
Yeah.
As the character, what stopped you?
The daughter, seeing the daughter in the frame, looking at her daughter and thinking, I have to talk to my daughter before I end things. She needed to connect with Aphrodite. That's why she didn't do it right then. Yeah. And then the fact that she couldn't, and she knew what that conversation would have been had she been able to, in her imagination. That was enough to make her pull the trigger the second time. Yeah.
Which actresses did you draw character from to sort of pull that character together? Because I was in my head was screaming Liz Taylor the whole time.
Yeah, a lot of people say Liz Taylor. I mean, I would say there is for sure that. I mean, when I was a little girl, my idols were Judy Garland and Barbra Streisand. They were my idols. I mean, I was a singing, dancing, acting child. And so looking at Judy Garland and Barbra Streisand and seeing them acting and singing and dancing and moving, and it was just, they were just everything to me. And of course, Elizabeth Taylor, absolutely, and I watched a lot of Rosalind Russell because to try to capture that mid-Atlantic accent and find that sound, my voice. And So all of those old-time movie stars, they had such strength and fragility at the same time, you know, so powerful and yet, and also just, yeah, just broken too, you know? So it was quite amazing to have a character like this to embody all those things, you know? Yeah.
How long did that take to film?
So we rehearsed it for 2 weeks in an apartment, and we taped off the set, and we shot the whole thing in 5 days. Yeah. Sometimes 45-minute long takes, sometimes one take, which we would sometimes just go in and do like a little pickup here or there. But very long, very arduous, in a wonderful way, because I was the only one on set and didn't have to deal with anyone else's bad attitude. So I would just say to the director, like, I'm tired, I need a break, and I'd go take a break for 15 minutes or so, or whatever, meditate, relax, rest, eat, drink, pee. Yes.
If you had to predict what happens, what would you say?
Well, she definitely kills herself at the end. Yeah, she's yeah. No, I mean she's done. Sadly, that's the end. It's the end of Mabel. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a prequel.
And if I were just aging downward, we could do a prequel. Did she turn the oven on? Yeah, I think she did. So I always imagine that not only did she take the pills and drink herself to death, but there's a fire and I think it's just a complete, you know, it's a complete dramatic Hollywood, you know, just debacle. I think. Yeah, I think the whole place goes up in flames. That's how I always imagined it. That there's just nothing left of her, you know. Yes.
On the meditate and relax between takes, I just always think it's so hard to be convincing acting like you're drunk, but you just nailed it. Can you speak to that process?
Thank you for saying that. That's so funny. You know, I did a movie with Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman called Absolute Power, and that scene is also a drunk scene. It opens the movie. Do we need to get out of here?
No, you're good.
Okay. I don't want to hold anything up. And it was this moment right before with Gene Hackman where he and I are there and the door's shut and they roll camera and I kind of just leaned into Gene, like I just sort of leaned my whole body weight into him and he leaned his body weight into me. And it was like, that's everything. And I'm a very physical person because I'm a dancer and I've been dancing since I was 5 and was very, like I really thought I was going to be a ballerina. I thought acting was my hobby and ballet was my thing. So I'm very in my body, and so when I'm playing drunk, I'm really playing the body feeling. I'm not playing anything other than that. I'm just in the absolute, like, I can kind of do it like thinking about it. It's just, I'm just in the feeling state of that, you know, so that's just what carries me, and yeah, that's how I do that. It's a body thing. It's a body thing. Yes.
But yet, even though it's a body thing, we were talking about this the other night, it's so beautiful to see the character fall.
Yes.
You know, it could have gone cliche and like, you could have ended up like a poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful to see it so slow.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's Max and me and the collaboration of the two and the writing, and also the first cut of this movie was 3 hours long, so you're not seeing a lot of stories. There's a lot of stories that didn't end up here, but the ones that did, you know, really propel it in the most, you know, it is organic. I do feel it is, and it is really lucky. And it is really lucky. I mean, yes, there's a ton of talent here, but anybody that knows anything about movie making, or if you've read anything about movie making even, the chance and the potential for everything to go wrong at any moment is just so big, especially when you're dealing with first-time filmmakers, first-time writers. I was just thinking tonight when I was watching that, like, the amount of trust that I had in them and they had in me is really extraordinary. I think I was incredibly brave, but I trust my instincts. And I really knew that they had vision. And I thought, they can do this. And they were collaborative. They allowed me and wanted me and asked me and enrolled me to bring in all of my people too. So I had like a costume designer, you know, my costume designer that I worked with many times, Dean Appel, is an amazing costume designer. The hair, the person who made the wig, an incredible wig and the incredible makeup. And, you know, and my real daughter is the picture of the daughter, you know, she's an actress too. And just like all these things that sort of made it very rich. And they brought in an amazing production designer. I think the production design is also very, very good. And Max just is an incredible editor. I mean, like, I'm so impressed with his editing. You know, as I watch this over and over again, he's a very talented director and writer, you know, and he and Taylor co-wrote it, but wow, as an editor, you know, that's a big deal to do what he did, and the subtlety and capturing that. And so yeah, it was really quite an amazing experience, and so that's why I'm here, and you know, just trying to get as many people to see it as possible, because otherwise no one would see it. It's just so tiny, you know. It's such a tiny little movie. It was made for $150,000. I literally made $1 on this movie. Literally, I'm not kidding. And you know, but it's you know, it's special. It's so special because everything came together in the right way. You know, the craft service did their job the right way, and everyone did their job the right way. You need that to happen, and I don't know how that happened, but it just did. Sorry. Yes.
No. How much actual sympathy did you have for the character? After all, she was a victim as a child, bad luck in having the parents that she had. But after that, she was more of a victimizer than a victim. So, how much sympathy do you have for that aspect of the character?
I don't think you can play a person, any character, without absolutely understanding where they're coming from. Which isn't sympathy as much as it's just, I understood her. I understood her trauma. I understood her strength. I understood her flaws. I understood where she was broken and where she was wrong and where she was right because of her reality. And she's fully imperfect, but who isn't? And her history, of course, informs how imperfect she is. And you know, hurt people. So there's that too, right? And that's going on, and you see how that's going on, and it's quite amazing, I think, in the writing, in the directing, in the acting, that you still care for her in the end. You care for her, and you know how bad she's been treated, but also how bad she's been. She's been bad too, and yet it's like you feel for her, you know. So I always felt for her. I couldn't play her like that without feeling for her and loving her. Like, I love her, you know. I mean, I play characters that people say are bitches, and I always sort of, I know that they're just saying what they see, and so I used to take it personally, but I don't think of my bitches as bitches. Like, they're not bitches to me. Like, to me, they're just like, they're women doing what they have to do. And if I thought of them as bitches, I think they wouldn't be quite as interesting to watch or quite as much fun to play. So, well, anything else?
How can we vote for this movie?
Oh, thank you, Skip. He always helps me remember that. Okay, we still are a little bit in the festival, and we're still trying to get another little wreath on our poster. So I would love it if you guys would scan with your phone right outside there. You'll see a little QR code, and you can vote and do the audience award. If this could win the audience award, boy, that would be incredible. And if everyone votes, then, you know, we have a chance. We have a shot. So, the Golden Globes, right? an Academy Award.
One last thing, your
Yes.
team in LA asked that
Oh.
we take a picture with you, all of us. So if everyone